Most people try to attract others by saying more, talking more, explaining more, proving more, and that's exactly why they fail. Stoic wisdom teaches a brutal truth. Attraction is not created by effort. It's created by absence of need. The moment you need someone's approval, their interest quietly dies. The most attractive people in any room are not the loudest, not the funniest, not the most impressive. They are the ones who feel complete without you. Today, I'm going to share 6 simple words, not as a trick, not as manipulation, but as signals. Signals of calm, signals of self-respect, signals that say, I'm grounded in myself. When spoken from the right inner state, these words instantly remove pressure, disarm insecurity, and make people lean in without you chasing anything. Stay with me, because the last word isn't something you say out loud. It's a mindset that changes how people feel around you forever. Stoic foundation. Why these words work. Before we get to the words, you need to understand one thing. The power is not in the sentence. It's in the state behind it. Most people try to sound confident while secretly needing a reaction. And people can feel that contradiction immediately. Stoic philosophy teaches that humans are drawn to emotional stability, not performance. When someone doesn't need approval, doesn't rush outcomes, doesn't try to extract validation, they feel safe, grounded, predictable in the best way. That calm creates attraction because it removes pressure. Pressure repels. Stability invites. And these 6 words work only when they reflect an inner truth. I am complete without this outcome. Say them while chasing, they fail. Say them while anxious, they backfire. But when they come from genuine self-sufficiency, they quietly shift the entire dynamic. Now let's start with the first word. 1. I'm okay with that. This is one of the most powerful sentences a Stoic can say, and most people say it incorrectly. I'm okay with that is not indifference. It's not passive aggression, and it's definitely not pretending not to care. It's acceptance without collapse. You say it when someone disagrees with you, someone chooses something else, someone doesn't prioritize you instead of arguing, instead of convincing, instead of chasing. You calmly respond, I'm okay with that. Here's why this sentence is so powerful. It signals that your emotional balance does not depend on controlling other people's choices. Stoicism teaches this clearly. You control your judgments, not outcomes. When you say, I'm okay with that, and truly mean it, truly, now you communicate 3 things instantly. 1, you respect their freedom. 2, you trust yourself to handle any outcome. 3, you're not afraid of loss. That combination is rare, and rarity is attractive. Most people panic at resistance. They negotiate their worth. They explain themselves into weakness, but a Stoic doesn't need to win every outcome to maintain dignity. Here's a simple example. Someone says, I don't think this is going to work. Instead of, why not? Let me explain. You're misunderstanding me. You pause, and you say calmly, I'm okay with that. No resentment, no tone, no collapse. And suddenly, the pressure disappears. Because now the interaction is no longer about convincing, it's about choice. And people are far more drawn to those who can stand firmly without pushing. But here's the warning. And if you say these words while secretly hoping they'll chase you back, people will feel the mismatch. Stoic rule. State first. Sentence second. I'm okay with that only attracts when you truly are. Affirmation. I accept outcomes without abandoning myself. 2. I don't need to explain. This sentence makes many people uncomfortable because most people are trained to over-explain. They explain when misunderstood. They explain when challenged. They explain when accused. And every explanation leaks one thing quietly: need for approval. Stoic philosophy teaches a different posture. When you know who you are, you don't rush to convince. "I don't need to explain" is not arrogance. It's self-validation. You use it when someone assumes your intention, someone pressures you to justify yourself, someone demands clarity they haven't earned. Here's why this sentence is powerful. It signals that your self-worth does not depend on being understood by everyone. Marcus Aurelius wrote that you waste your life when you live inside other people's opinions. Explaining too much does exactly that, and it hands control of your inner state to someone else's interpretation. When you calmly say, "I don't need to explain," you communicate, "I trust my own judgment, I'm not defensive. I'm not afraid of being misunderstood." That combination is rare. And rarity draws attention. Most people scramble to repair perception. They fear being misread. They fear being judged. A Stoic understands something deeper. Not everyone deserves clarity. Some people want explanations not to understand, but to debate, twist, or weaken you. So you don't argue. You don't justify your boundaries. You don't narrate your decisions. You simply stand still. And when spoken without anger, without tone, without drama, "I don't need to explain" feels calm, centered, final. But remember the rule. If you say this while secretly hoping they'll approve you anyway, it collapses. State first. Sentence second. Affirmation. I validate myself before anyone else. 3. Take your time. This sentence looks simple, but emotionally, it's one of the strongest signals of abundance. Most people rush. They rush replies. They rush decisions. They rush connections. Why? Because rushing reveals fear of loss. Stoic philosophy teaches patience as a form of quiet dominance. When you say, "Take your time," you are saying something deeper without words. "I'm not afraid of your choice." You use this sentence when someone is unsure about you, someone needs space, someone is deciding instead of pressuring, persuading. Following up too much, you stay grounded. Take your time. Here's what happens psychologically. Pressure disappears, the emotional noise drops, and suddenly the other person feels free. Freedom creates safety. Safety creates openness. Openness creates attraction. This is why Stoics never rush outcomes. Epictetus taught that impatience is attachment in disguise. When you rush, you reveal that you need a result. When you don't, you reveal self-sufficiency. Most people say, "Take your time," while secretly waiting anxiously. That doesn't work. People feel the contradiction. But when the sentence matches the state, when you truly mean it, it flips the dynamic. You're no longer waiting, you're allowing. And allowance feels powerful because you're not paused, you're complete either way. Affirmation. I don't rush outcomes. I trust myself. 4. I trust my judgment. This sentence shifts the entire power dynamic. Most people outsource their confidence. They look for agreement. They wait for validation. They soften their decisions the moment they're questioned. Stoic philosophy teaches the opposite. A grounded person does not borrow certainty. They generate it internally. I trust my judgment is not stubbornness. It's internal authority. You use this sentence when someone doubts your decision, someone pressures you to change direction, someone questions your boundaries. Instead of arguing logic, instead of defending every detail, you calmly say, I trust my judgment. Here's why this is powerful. People are drawn to certainty. Not certainty that's loud, but certainty that doesn't need reinforcement. And Marcus Aurelius warned against living as a committee of other people's opinions. The more you explain your decisions, the more you signal uncertainty. When you trust your judgment, you don't overshare, you don't persuade, you don't seek consensus. You move forward quietly. And that calm decisiveness creates gravity. Because people don't follow confidence built on approval. They follow confidence built on alignment. But there's a warning here. If you say this sentence while secretly doubting yourself, it collapses. Stoic rule remains. State first. Sentence second. I trust my judgment works only when you've done the inner work to accept responsibility for your choices. Affirmation. I stand by my decisions without needing permission. 5. No worries either way. This sentence removes one of the strongest repellents in human interaction: fear of rejection. Most people try to hide it, but people can always feel it. When someone is afraid to be rejected, they create pressure. Pressure makes others pull away. Stoic philosophy teaches detachment, not emotional coldness, but freedom from outcomes. When you say, "No worries either way," you are communicating something rare. I'll be fine, regardless of your choice. You use this sentence when there's a chance of rejection, someone is undecided, an outcome isn't guaranteed. Instead of bracing, instead of subtly pushing, you release. No worries either way. This does something powerful psychologically. It gives the other person permission to choose honestly. And when people feel free to choose, they feel safe. So safety opens connection. Epictetus taught that suffering comes from attachment to outcomes. This sentence dissolves attachment instantly when it's genuine. Most people fake detachment. They say, "No worries," while internally worrying a lot. That doesn't work. But when you truly mean it, when your well-being doesn't depend on the answer, the energy changes. You're no longer waiting to be chosen. You're standing whole, and wholeness is attractive. Not because it demands attention, but because it doesn't need it. Affirmation. I remain steady regardless of outcomes. 6. I'm not chasing. This is the most powerful word of all. And ironically, it's the one you rarely say out loud. I'm not chasing is not a sentence you announce. It's a state you embody. Stoic philosophy teaches that the moment you chase, you place yourself below the outcome. You hand your peace to something outside your control. Chasing doesn't look like running after someone. It looks like overinvesting. Too early, adjusting yourself to be chosen. Staying longer than your standards allow. The Stoic refuses this posture. Not out of pride, but out of self-respect. When you are not chasing, you don't rush replies. You don't overgive to be liked. You don't lower standards to keep attention, and people feel it immediately. And because chasing carries a silent message, I need you to complete me. Not chasing carries a different one. I am already complete. Marcus Aurelius warned that dependence on externals is the fastest way to lose inner freedom. When you are not chasing, you don't manipulate. You don't withdraw to provoke pursuit. You don't play games. You simply continue living aligned with your values, and this creates a powerful inversion. People start leaning in not because you're trying to attract them, but because you are no longer trying to keep them. This is the paradox Stoicism understands deeply. The less you chase connection, the more genuine connection becomes possible. Because now, interest must meet you at your level. Not above, not below. Equal. The affirmation, I move forward without chasing what is not aligned. Stoic warning. Read this carefully. These 6 words are not magic. They don't work if you use them to get something from someone. If you say them while hoping for a reaction, if you say them while fearing loss, if you say them while secretly chasing, they collapse. Stoicism is not about appearing confident. It's about being grounded. The words only work when they reflect an inner truth. That truth is simple. You are whole, with or without the outcome. If that is not true internally, no sentence will save you. So don't memorize these words. Practice the state behind them. Final Stoic message. Attraction is not something you manufacture. It's something that happens when you stop needing to be chosen. Stoic wisdom teaches this clearly. People are drawn to those who are at peace with themselves, not because they impress, not because they persuade, but because they are stable. These 6 words are not tools, they are reflections. Reflections of patience, of self-trust, of emotional independence. If this resonated with you, comment below, "I'm grounded in myself." Like the video. Share it with someone who's been chasing approval. And subscribe for more Stoic wisdom on discipline, boundaries, and inner strength. Final affirmation: I remain steady, regardless of who comes or goes.